All right, what's up guys? I have spent the last 10 years of my life going deep down the rabbit hole of what it takes to scale an Amazon business. What I've learned above anything else is it's really all about leverage. 10 years ago, I was waiting tables in a restaurant. I had dropped out of school, and here I am today, tracked to manage about $200 million worth of businesses on Amazon. Reason for me being able to do that is simply because of leverage. So Naval Ravikant's formula for wealth creation is not just for some Silicon Valley tech company. It's like a foundational principle that, if applied to your business, can help you dramatically scale your business. What I've done in my own journey, growing in my business, building a company, selling a company for multiple 7 figures, and now running 9-figure plus operation on Amazon, is seeing very deeply that ultimate position of leverage so that you can get the most out of your business. Times leverage, there's different forms of leverage, equals wealth. Without further ado, let's talk about how we can leverage labor in a way that will help scale your business, put you in a position where you can be focused on strategy, which is what we want to do. You don't want to spend your entire day answering cases on Amazon, making shipments, moving things around. Those things are incredibly important. The business cannot run without it. But at the same time, this video is really for the CEOs out there that are scaling. I mean, you're going from different figures. If you're scaling from a 6-figure business to a 7, or a 7 to an 8, or even to $100 million plus business, there's different focuses that you have to have, different places you need to position yourself, and different people you need around to scale your business. So we're going to talk about all of the different forms of leverage in this series. Today's video, we're going to be talking about labor leverage. Let's hop right in. There are so many reasons why you have to properly leverage labor, which can, another way to say it is build an incredible team of experts all around you. Everyone gets into e-commerce simply because you're looking for financial freedom, freedom of time. The vast majority of all the people that I meet that start a business, even to become successful, end up being a slave to your business. It's just crazy how often I see that. And that's the last thing you want. So we have to remember why we even started, why we're doing what we're doing in the first place. And really wanting to scale your business from 7 to 8 figures, from 8 to 9, you can't do it alone. And now in this world that we live in, pretty much everything is remote. If you're listening to this, you're probably running a remote team. So there's principles in place, which is difficult. People are not next to you. Don't just look to your left and have a conversation about a different topic. And we have to leverage all of the tools as well that we have. Slack, Google Meet, Google Sheets, all the different data aspects that we need to look at, how to communicate, and really how to be a great leader, that gets everyone basically rowing in the right direction. It's extremely important. You want to be happy with what you end up creating. So build wisely all the way. If you want to scale and have a huge business, there's just simply no way. So learning how to build teams properly, be a great leader, is incredibly important if you want to scale your business. And the last thing that you want to do, especially if you have huge goals, as I do, you don't want to burn out. So you want to position great people and experts around you to complement your weaknesses. Of course, scale your business. Ultimately, don't just make a business to be an employee in your business. That's why I started my own journey, because I didn't want to work for anyone. So end up being an employee in your own business. And all the different ways that I've leveraged Amazon in my own business has just been incredible. I mean, I dropped out of school, I was waiting tables, and I was just dreaming of something bigger, and I knew I didn't want to work for anyone else, right? And then, next thing you know, I'm searching for how to make money online, which led me down a rabbit hole of drop shipping, and eventually Amazon FBA, which eventually led to me selling my business for a few $1 million with my best friend. So what an awesome adventure to go on, but it has to be done wisely. Do it smart, do it big. Don't do it like a side hustle, because their heart and soul and are building teams and are taking advantage of every form of leverage to win the game. That's what it takes, So in my own journey, I went from waiting tables in this restaurant, starting a business from scratch with very little money. And within just a few years, I'd exited my business, a few $1 million. And in fact, was one of the first people to ever exit my business to Thrasio, which is super famous and now an infamous company, kind of. They bought my brand, and within a few years they had crashed to basically zero, but they paid me, so it was all good. Yeah, we had one of the best-selling back braces online, and I did that with a very small team at that time. 2 or 3 people, and we had a few $1 million a year business. Flash forward, we have a 60+ person team in 12 different countries around the world. My wife and I have traveled all over the world, meeting our team, sharing the vision of what we want to do, crazy goals we want to accomplish, and focusing on achieving expertise in every area of the business. Expertise in PPC, expertise in supply chain management, expertise in case management, catalog management, making sure that we're the absolute best in the world in all that we do and how we manage businesses. And that comes from having a vision and leadership and putting yourself in a position to think deeply about your business day in and day out, and not doing busy work. It's so funny how many CEOs I talk to of big businesses that are doing things like, I'm messaging Amazon about this case or that case, and we're here to help them. And at the same time, I think to myself inside, I was like, oh man, I can't believe you're doing that with your time. Time is so precious, you know? So both for your business and for your personal life, put yourself in that position to have an incredible team, right? It's awesome to have a great team. And you know, since then, since exiting my business, we're fully managing the Amazon accounts of incredible brands like Ridge Wallet, biggest wallet company in the United States, Hexclad. Gordon Ramsay's partnered with Hexclad. You know, these guys are like, it's like a $500 million a year business. We work with so many brands, multiple brands on Shark Tank, like the Woobles, like Beard Brand. We work with Obvi, BK Beauty, some of the biggest brands in the world. Going back, the only way that I'm able to do that and run so many brands on Amazon is because we're understanding all the different forms of leverage. As I said, we're focusing on labor leverage. So if you're looking to scale your business from 6 to 7 figures, from 7 figures to 8 figures, or from 8 to 9, there's different things you need to focus on. Put your time and energy. Don't get caught doing busy work or you're your own worst enemy. As I said before, you know, Naval Ravikant's formula for wealth creation, it's not just for the Silicon Valley tech company. It can be applied to any business and it can be applied to your Amazon business. And when I seriously thought deeply about how to apply each form of leverage, labor, capital, media, and code to my business, things skyrocketed. We're able to do a phenomenal job. And I'm enjoying the quality of my life as we're scaling a huge business. And just sharing a little bit of proof here. I mean, this is a silly picture of me waiting tables at a restaurant. This was just 10 years ago. I was just starting to study Amazon and getting started at my own time. And flash forward, you know, this is where I live now. This is where I run my business, which is, you know, out in the woods in Mexico. So being able to fully take advantage of leverage allows you to live where you want to live in the world and build a business of your dreams. And that's what we need to focus on. It's not just about, I want to have a great lifestyle as well, but I want to build a huge successful business. And now we have just an incredible dream team. I'm located in Mexico. We've got people in the Dominican Republic, teams in Romania, Slovenia, Pakistan, India, the Philippines, United States. We have an incredible team all over the world focused on running Amazon accounts at scale in a way that I think no one in the game does it. This is what leverage really looks like. We're making US dollars. I live in Mexico. I get to spend it in pesos. We get to take advantage of this international world we live in where, for instance, you know, we have a large team in Pakistan. Everyone has engineering degrees pretty much. The rates that we're able to hire at, which are meaningful and helpful to them and their families. So keep that in mind. And you know what most people's businesses look like is this. It's like you are the bottleneck of your business and all of the information has to pass through you to make the decisions. But that is absolutely the worst way. And that's a person that's a control freak, basically. So that person will go crazy if they want to scale their business because there's inherently more information that has to pass through. Whereas I feel the ultimate way to structure your business is you want to be the strategic person, the one on the outside of the business. Tim Ferriss clearly said in his book, The 4-Hour Workweek, is instead of being the bottleneck, you essentially want to be like a police officer, making sure everyone's following the rules, okay? So you're essentially pointing the traffic in which way to go to, right? Or you're making sure that everyone's following the rules of the road, making sure everyone's going in the right direction. So in the case of Amazon specifically, you want to make sure that your PPC guy is in sync with your supply chain guy, you know, your catalog management team is aware of all of the deals that are coming up. All these different aspects have to be absolutely in sync. And if you're doing busy work, there's no way you're going to be making the most intelligent decisions because you're stuck doing busy work. So value your time much more, zoom out and see how everything plugs in together. So let's dive in deep here in terms of what is needed for Amazon for the different levels that your business is at. Now, so many of the people that we work with are focused on D2C, first of all. We work with a lot of brands that are totally focused on Shopify. So Amazon's always on the back burner, which means, you know, sometimes they have an in-house guy that's not an Amazon specialist that's working on things. You know, the guy watches some YouTube videos, maybe like this one. You know, they do their best, but they're not a pro, right? Maybe they have other responsibilities. Or sometimes they just outsource to an agency with varying results. And then some brands are just Amazon native. Maybe you're a D2C focused business. Amazon's a very small percentage of your business. Maybe that means you're a smaller business in the 7 figures. Maybe you want to do that yourself as you develop your skills and experience in every area of an Amazon business. If you don't have the skills and you don't have the experience, how can you hire and understand what you need? You have to have a good grasp of all aspects of Amazon in order to hire very well. If you're in a 0 to 20K per month range on Amazon, probably do it yourself, right? Unless you really want to scale, hire a great team. When you get to the 20 to 50K a month range, scaled up a little bit, you understand things, I highly recommend getting like an Amazon generalist. And there's a lot of people out there you could hire that would fit in this role, depending on what kind of business model you have. Maybe they're helping do product research, maybe they're helping sourcing, speaking to suppliers, managing different contractors, graphic designers. They're helping you out. They're like a buddy. They should be a friend. You know, if you have people in your company, you want to develop a good relationship with them, especially if it's just you and one other person. So they should be like a sidekick that's helping you out in all the different aspects of the business. Maybe they're optimizing listings themselves, we're monitoring competitors. This is all that's required for the most part, okay? An Amazon generalist, they're like a B- or a C+ in all the areas of the business. That's a very very useful person to have. As you're scaling to a greater degree, that 50K to 100K per month, you really want to make sure at that point you're probably spending $10,000 to $15,000 a month on PPC on Amazon. You want to hire a PPC specialist. Usually you can hire a PPC specialist in-house. We'll talk about that a little bit later. About $500 a month would pay for a full-time PPC person in Pakistan who has a couple years of experience just doing PPC. They can probably do PPC better than yourself, I'm guessing. I've done PPC myself for my own brands and businesses for years and years. I get it, I understand it. And at the same time, I want to hire people that are way more knowledgeable than me in the space. Next, once you go from that 100K to a 500K per month tier, you're getting big now, right? You're in the 7-figure range. You have many more variables to be aware of. At that point, you're definitely going to want to bring in a supply chain specialist. He's going to be very aware of fees, how to move inventory around the world, understanding the tariffs that you're going to have to pay. You want to be aware of and you want to account for. When your business gets that big, it's easy to get sloppy. Don't get sloppy. Be very smart in how you run your business and position yourself. Once it's at that scale, now you've got to position specialists. Begin with a generalist and then place specialists around you. And all of the specialists, you want them to be better than you in that particular area. Imagine like a president. He's not the best general. He's not the best economist. Any of the different things. They have their cabinet, right? So see yourself in that way and then put a great cabinet of experts around you in all the different areas and watch your business thrive. Then once you've got a 500K and above business, you've got an awesome business, you're going to want to build out a whole team. This is exactly the way that we're running a $200 million Amazon empire. This is what we call our pod system. So there's a strategic leader that is running your brand on top. They're a great generalist in a way, and they're able to make sure that the whole team is kind of working in harmony. Below them, give that person assistant. The salaries that you can pay, particularly in Pakistan and some other markets as well, it's extremely affordable. You want to even give your brand managers leverage. Eventually, when you get to those points, we can talk about what it looks like when you're running a couple $100 million operation. What I've done to put 60 people into position with different leaders in the organization, experts and specialists in different places that are just making sure that everything is run exceptionally well. But then you've got that client, which is like a project manager, helper, a PPC specialist, supply chain specialist, seller central ops or your catalog manager. They're solving every case. It makes sense to be organized in a particular way between child or parent variations, these things. And then you really want like a creative director, graphic designer person that's in charge of CRO, like conversion rate optimization. Make sure your listing converts better than the market. And make sure that brand manager is extremely data person. They understand how to read the data, make smart decisions, like how does your conversion rate stack up against the market? These are the things that you have to know. So let's talk about cost, how these different things work. Your brand manager, your PPC specialist, supply chain, catalog manager, seller central ops, as we call it, a brand manager that's good. It's gonna cost $70,000 to $80,000 minimum, up to actually way beyond. I used to be a brand manager for the Ridge alone. They paid me very well. Comparing these rates specifically to Pakistan. Pakistan is a very interesting market. Guys, go check Fiverr, go check Upwork. You're gonna see Pakistan has taken over. And the reason for that, there are so many intelligent people, engineers, mathematicians, computer science people that have got degrees. The job market there, an engineer doesn't get paid very much in Pakistan. In fact, an engineer in Pakistan, like a year or two out of school, probably gets paid $250 per month to work as an engineer in Pakistan. And I'm guessing the quality of life, the work hours, really bad. And do the math, guys. 1/6, that's less than $2 per hour, which is pretty crazy. A huge segment of the market has started studying Amazon. We've got a dedicated office in Lahore, Pakistan. We've got a full-time recruiter, our HR team, and we're just able to hire incredible talent at incredible rates where people can actually make more than they would make as an engineer in their local market. And at the same time, as a PPC specialist in the United States, you're talking a 6-figure role, $100,000. Really, for each of these roles, it could be between $80,000 to $120,000 a year. I often find that work ethic sometimes in the United States is just not the best. I have currently 12 different countries in my company. It often makes much more sense to leverage hiring internationally. So that's what I've done. And I'm literally talking about 10% of that. A PPC specialist with 2 years of experience, we're talking $400 to $500 USD. If you know how to find them, we can talk about that in a little bit. Supply chain specialist, $400 USD to $600 USD and beyond. The levels go up. We have really we've been cultivating senior talent in my own company. But if we're talking about a salary of $300 to $500 USD for people that are trained, think about how much your time is worth. If someone is getting paid $3 per hour, 40 hours a week, that's $120 a week, $480. That's about $500 USD per month. So I'm saying you can hire for $3 or even less per hour if you know how to find the right talent. It can be difficult. Ask yourself a very deep question: how much is your time worth? Naval Ravikant talks a lot about how much his time was worth and how he would be extreme in the sense of bought something from the store, you don't like it, you have to return it. He said, hey, it's gonna take me 2 hours. My time is worth, at that time, early in his life, $1,000 an hour. So he said, there's no way it makes sense for me to spend spend my time returning this product? Some of his examples are extreme, but ask yourself that. And I've done that in extreme ways to myself. We run a huge business. I've done everything on Amazon for many, many years. And at the same time, I haven't made a shipment for myself on Amazon in a couple years. I haven't answered a case by myself in a couple years. I'm involved in these things. I'm answering questions, but when it comes to doing the busy work of things, the most valuable thing that you could be doing as a CEO is to be very aware of the overall strategy and see the big picture. Don't get lost in the weeds. Simple as that. Stay in your zone of genius. It is a combination of your natural talent. So figure out what makes you money, what brings you joy, and actually what you're good at. I'm more data oriented. Some people are more creative oriented. Figuring out where to position and how to complement your weaknesses. If I'm not the best graphic designer or the best creative person, I want to have a phenomenal creative team around me. As we do, that's focused on really aesthetically making the best Amazon listing ever that converts well. And then I want to dig into the numbers, look at the data in terms of, and see how all of that works, right? So be uncompromising and staying in your zone of genius, and your business will thrive. Simple as that. This is not just some philosophical idea. Apply this to your Amazon business. Stay in your zone of genius, be uncompromising. It is so possible to hire very, very talented, very, very inexpensive talent in different markets in the world, whether that be Pakistan, the Philippines, Latin America. It's incredible. And when you're in your zone of genius, you're happier when you make more money. That sounds great. There's no reason not to. Don't think small. Your time is worth more than $3 an hour. Is your business mature enough to be worth more than $3 per hour? If you're listening to this video, I would assume that it is. And you can go to Fiverr and you can find lots of talent. You can go to Upwork and you can find a lot of talent. What I found, and it's been so difficult, I've hired more than 100 people for sure in the process of building my businesses. What I found though is like talent on Fiverr and Upwork, it could be just totally oversaturated, and it's like finding a needle in a haystack, honestly. Like you have to weed through. Everyone has bad experiences on Fiverr and Upwork. If you're listening to this video, you've probably had a terrible experience hiring someone, right? So they could be underskilled, diamond in the rough, or a needle in the haystack kind of a thing, and you have to sort through like tons of people if you want to do it very well. I think really crack the code when it comes to hiring internationally. So a couple things. I have a dedicated office in Lahore, Pakistan, which I visited, traveled all around the world meeting my team. I went to our office. We have a full-time recruiter, so who has Amazon experience. So we know exactly what to look for. And we have a dedicated team where we are doing, internships, we're training up people. It's incredible. We're just like cultivating skills and keeping the bar very high. You can hire by yourself, of course, and here's exactly how you do it, which is, you need a very, very clear job description of exactly what you're looking for. And I recommend then putting that job description and making multiple tests. I use a tool called Test Gorilla. And Test Gorilla is the most amazing thing ever. You can test for English proficiency, which is important. If you're hiring in Pakistan, making sure that you can communicate very well with your new hire. That's so important. Communication's everything, especially in this international, remote world that we're in. So Test Gorilla is incredible for that. I recommend using that. You can have multiple tests for your job specific skill, English proficiency, things like teamwork or how to work in a remote world. I always have everyone record 1 to 2 minute video talking about themselves and their experience. Right away, you're going to be able to weed out a lot of people, to be honest, because if you see a person, communication is everything. And if you're wanting to work with someone, they're wanting to join your team, maybe they're wanting to be a PPC specialist on your team, have them do a 1 to 2 minute interview talking a little bit about themselves and their understanding of PPC. And in 1 to 2 minutes, probably in less, you can quickly find out if they're going to make the cut or not. And then you want to interview a ton of candidates. And honestly, this part is 100% required, but takes so much time. And honestly, we're just in a process of constantly hiring people. So I don't even have that time anymore. So we have a full-time recruiter that's just doing this, make sure this person, their English level is sufficient. They've performed very well on tests. We just helped hire for someone for a PPC specialist. We had 140 people apply. So many people we're interviewing with. So check it out. Test Gorilla is a phenomenal tool that will help make your life easy. It requires a ton of work and sifting to find some great people. So if you're interested, this is something that we can do for people very easily as well. We're just hiring for ourselves constantly, and that's how we're running nearly $200 million worth of Amazon businesses this year. We can now help people hire for your businesses too. So we have an Amazon agency where we can, fully do done for you Amazon. At the same time, if that's not a good fit and people want to have their business in-house, well, we can help you hire someone too that's really experienced. So all of these steps that we're talking about, using Test Gorilla, putting each candidate through multiple tests, having them send in video interviews, making sure they score very well on their Amazon specific knowledge, their area of expertise on Amazon, and then just interviewing dozens and dozens of people, if not hundreds. That's what we do. We have a full-time recruiter and we have an office full of highly experienced people. So we can help you do this. Here's exactly how you do it for yourself. If you want to, you can do it. It's amazing. It's a lot of work. The cool thing is that we're able to hire really good talent for very, very inexpensive expensive because we have our office located in Pakistan itself. So if you want us to do this, we can just do it for you. I mean, our core business is we just run big business Amazon. So if you're like an 8 or 9 figure business, I'm happy to just do this for you. Even if you're like in the mid 7 figures, we usually find like a win-win way to work together. And if not, if you just want to keep it in-house, you can do it yourself and here's how you do it, or we can just do it for you. I think we do a really good job at that. So fully taking advantage of global talent, an absolute necessity. When you're going from 6 to 7 figures, from 7 to 8 to 9, the list goes on and on, thinking very deeply about where to position yourself and your business for your greatest happiness, joy, but also, to build an empire. And as you're scaling up, think bigger and think bigger. Don't get lost in the weeds. That's the most important thing. If you're interested in hearing the exact strategies and tactics that I use to go from waiting tables in a restaurant 10 years ago to having this awesome Amazon empire that we have today, click this video. It's loaded with insights and strategies that I use to scale my own businesses, other people's businesses as well, and it can be applied to your own business today. So we'll see you in the next one. Thanks.